Football, then and now, a fun look at football nostalgia and the modern game intertwined. Join us. Welcome to Football, Then and Now, episode 26. We weren't going to do an episode this week, but I've got a special guest awaiting in the wings. It's my pal of many years now, Aston Villa fan. It's Mr. Anthony Williams. I'm just going to bring him in now for episode 26 of the show. Thank you for coming on at the last minute as well. So, yeah, I absolutely appreciate it. Now, I think we'll open with Villa. You were there on the weekend, of course, a 2-0 loss to Arsenal. How did you feel the game went?
Well, I think we played really well. I don't think we deserved to lose 2-0. I would have been happy with a draw. I thought it was going to be tough to beat them this time because if you think about it, we did the double on them, didn't we, last season? So they were going to be coming guns blazing. They did not want to lose this game. But first home game of the season, you know, we should have definitely got a draw out of it. But I'm still happy with the performance myself. I don't know if all the other Villa fans would agree with me, but I really enjoyed the game. I think it's a great game to go to. And I'm actually glad I got to see Arsenal as well because that's one of the teams I haven't seen yet.
What did you think about Arsenal? Who stood out for you in the game last week?
Well, Thomas Partey. He was playing really well in the midfield. Obviously, heartbreaking that he got the goal, but the fans was giving him some stick as well. So I think he put one in the back of the net to stick it to the fans. But Raya as well. He did make a couple of good saves. I mean, he kept Watkins out, didn't he?
Yeah, I couldn't believe it as well because I've got Watkins in the FPL, and I've had a slow start, as you've seen. All my strikers got 2 points each last week. The only good thing that happened was Cole Palmer came in as vice because Foden didn't play, of course.
You got lucky there.
I know, because it would have been terrible. He got like 30-odd points on his own. So imagine, I was looking at a 20-point week, I think, if that didn't happen. But yeah, Ollie Watkins, I thought he'd hit the ground running. I thought goals would be coming in straight away. I'm sure it'll come. He scored so many goals, hasn't he, for Villa?
Look at last
season. He's been fantastic. So it will come with him. I'm going to stick with him for a bit longer, I think. What do you think?
Yeah, me too. I mean, you've got to think, the little bit of time he did play in the Euros, he played really well as well. You know, he got the goal, didn't he? The goal that carried us forward to the next game. But I think the reason he's struggling at the moment is he's had no pre-season at all, has he? So, and that's why he keeps coming off 60, 70 minutes. I don't think he's fully up to match fitness yet, but I don't know, maybe this weekend, maybe you'll get a full game out of him. And I think he'll be back on the score sheet sooner than later.
Do you think Douglas Luiz will be a big miss? Us on the outside looking in, obviously it's not my club, but what I'd seen at Douglas Luiz, especially last season, I know he's obviously gone to Juventus. Lehman's obviously gone for the women's to the Juventus ladies as well. To me, I think that's a big miss for you personally. Obviously, you've had Anana from us who scored on the opening weekend, of course. I poo-pooed it. I said, I don't think he's cut out for it. And then he goes and scores on the first game week. So I totally cocked that one up. But yeah, Douglas Luiz not being there. I'll go to the first part of the question. What do you think? Because he was so integral, not just with linking play up from the middle, it was his goals as well and assists.
Set pieces, wasn't he? Yeah. He's a set piece king, isn't he, really? I mean, you've seen him do the direct corner kick into the goal, haven't you, a couple of times? But I think last couple of seasons he's been great. First half of the season he was, but he really, really dropped off the second half of last season. So I think it's because of people like Rodgers and that coming through. Rodgers is going to be in the starting 11 now. I can't see he's not going to get dropped. I mean, sorry to cut off from the Douglas Luiz, but you saying about missing him. Now we've got Rodgers. That could be technically his replacement, really.
No, he was highly touted. I used to sign him. He was at Man City years ago. Obviously, you got him from Borough, highly touted, and he did look good. Rodgers, what I did see of him when he came, when you signed him in January, So, you can see what Emery's trying to do. He's trying to balance it, isn't he? He's bringing younger players through. What do you think with Onana from what you've seen so far of him? I think he's missing a final pass when he was Everton. But you played totally different to us, and you're a better team. You're better equipped for him, maybe. I'm still sceptical with him, but Everton getting 50 million for him, I think we've done fantastically well.
Yeah, well, I think he played quite well in the Arsenal game as well. Like you say, maybe in the final third, not great. Obviously, he's good with his head. 4 minutes into the first game, but and he was running forward. He kept charging forward with the ball. So I think he'll get there as well. I don't know whether he's going to be a permanent starter or not. It depends. I mean, we've still got Kamara out injured. We're only just getting Buendia back, aren't we, to fitness? I know Ming's in defence, but I'm just talking about the midfield at the minute. But yeah, it's we'll see. I mean, I didn't really see him play. He didn't really play that every single game for Everton, did he?
He had 30 games last season. Probably came off the bench.
Oh, that's why.
I'm trying to work out how many came off the bench for. It just we're in a place we're in. There's a lack of confidence in that team. I think he's a confident type of player. I'm not knocking him. He's got all the tools in his tool belt there to do it. He's capped for Belgium. He plays for Belgium. He played in the tournament during the summer.
Yeah.
And he's got a goal for you already. So I mean, I just think 50 million, to Everton with the current financial plight was massive. It was a huge bit of business. We've done a bit of business between them, haven't we? Obviously, Lewis Dobbin, who's now on loan at West Brom, of course. And we've got Tim Irigabuma. Tim Irigabuma, man, has been absolutely brilliant through pre-season. And he's been one of the shining lights from our poor performances. He's been brilliant in centre mid for us. Strong, very, very, very happy. A lot of the Villa fans said he could be very good for us because I didn't know much about him until we signed him. But he's been a shining light. He's putting tackles in. He's driving the ball forward, something we haven't had in central midfield. So a lot of our players have been poor, but I've been very impressed with him early on. He's young as well. He's very young, but he looks to be the real deal for Everton, I must admit.
I heard you mention him on your show last week, and he didn't really get much game time for Villa, from what I saw. He used to come off the bench at 80 minutes and get 10 minutes to try and turn the game around. And I can't really have an opinion on him because I didn't really see him play all that much myself.
He was at QPR on loan as well, so obviously got a lot of game time there. He's just obviously when they go out on loan, it's big for these players to get the loan time. Is it to then get them ready for the biggest stage, of course, but. In current news this evening, the Champions League draw. You guys have been in Europe now. It's been gradual, hasn't it, getting into the top echelon of European football. I thought Spurs were going to catch it at one point for that 4th place, but you dug deep. I think when you were trying to balance the Conference League and the league, it was a lot of games. But you got through it, didn't you? Spurs just couldn't do it. You got the 4th place, but 8 games that have been announced. It's a new league format as well, isn't it? The whole thing is different now. But Bayern Munich at home, man. What a game that's going to be.
I don't fully understand how it works, and I don't think many people do. Obviously, this only got drew a couple of hours ago. So I can see the 4 home games. I can see the 4 away. We're not crisscrossing, are we? We're not going to go and play at Bayern Munich, are we?
No. 1 at home. So you'll play them at home, which would be better for you, of course. Juventus at home, Celtic at home, Bologna at home. I think the top 8 in this league format go through. So there's 36 teams now. So there's 4 extra teams in the tournament. And then there's a playoff round for the teams below, from what I can gather. So there's X amount of teams below the top 8 that then go into another round. And then you'll meet the top 8. If you get through, then it goes into knockout. That's the nuts and bolts of the new format. I think it's going to take some getting used to, man, because I'm just used to a four team group. That's what we've been used to. So it will be interesting. How do you feel you get on against Bayern Munich?
Well, that's going to be the toughest game, isn't it? Looking at that there, I would think Bayern Munich is going to be the toughest game. I mean, look how far they got in their league. Look how far they got Champions League. I can't believe they didn't win the league. How many years have they won it now? And then poor Harry Kane. I feel so bad for the guy. I really like Harry Kane. And I cannot believe he went all the way over there and still didn't win a championship. It's
I think the fact they ended up third in the league as well. A lot of people.
Was it third in the end? I thought they were still winning second.
Stuttgart got second. Stuttgart had a fantastic season because, I mean, they were in the Bundesliga too a couple of years ago. Garassi, the lad up front, was fantastic. Dennis Undav scored a lot of goals. They were very good last year, Stuttgart. And obviously Leverkusen under Xabi Alonso, fantastic. Nearly went the whole season unbeaten, didn't they, of course? Lost to Atalanta in the Europa. But yeah, Bayern Munich at home. Are you going to get tickets for that?
I hope so. I mean, the problem is I'm not a season ticket holder, so I'm just a member. So the tickets tend to go on sale for season ticket holders first. I think that's normally on the Monday, and then I'm judging it by how it worked for the Conference League last season, because I did go to a couple of the Conference League games. It used to be Monday for the season ticket holders, and then Thursday for the members, and then it was the general sale the following Monday. So you're second in line to get tickets, and obviously for a game like Bayern, it's going to be tough. You're going to be paying top dollar for that. But if I can get a pair for me and Marie, I will. Definitely.
Leipzig away after that, that'll be tricky. Leipzig qualify most years for the Champions League, of course, so that's a tricky one. Although Dani Olmo, star man, has now gone to Barcelona, had a fantastic tournament with Spain. Yeah. But they've got Benjamin Sesko there, Leipzig up front. They're tricky. That'll be tricky. They've got a lot of experience at the top level in Europe. Juventus at home. It's written in the stars, isn't it, Ant? Douglas Luiz coming straight back to the homeland. Well, his footballing homeland, not his country homeland, of course. But
I wonder what his reaction will be like, because sometimes when people come back to the club, they do get a favourable reaction. And
I think it'll be favourable. I think
he
did a lot for you.
As long as he don't score past us, it won't be so favourable then. But
absolutely,
all four the teams that are coming to Villa Park, I'd like to go and see. Just because I have actually seen Bayern Munich play before. I saw them knock Man U out of the Champions League just before Christmas.
He went with Perret, yeah, of course.
Yeah, I went with my mate Kevin. I did bump into Perret while I was there, because my mate had a spare ticket, and I thought, well, yeah, I'd like to go and see Bayern Munich. And it was my first time at Old Trafford, so yeah, be good to see Bayern at Villa Park, but yeah, going to be a tough game, that one.
Club Bruges, who in more recent times have qualified for Champions League as well a lot of times. They've got a lot of experience. They can be tricky, especially when it was the 14 group format. They can be tricky away as well, and they've got a lot of experience as well, which that could be an interesting one for you. Then the Battle of Britain, Celtic coming to Villa Park. So I'm sure that's going to be amazing as well, having the Scottish champion down.
We had Hibs. Hibs was at Villa Park the last time we had a Scottish team down there. I don't think Celtic's going to be quite as easy.
It'll be a good game. Be a good game. Brendan Rodgers coming down with the lads for that one. Young boys as well of Switzerland away again. They qualify for European tournaments a lot, so
they're always there, aren't they? I know they normally cause Man City some problems.
Yeah.
Last time, didn't they put a couple past them first before City came back?
In the away game. Yeah. So you don't know with them. It's a tricky, especially going away. And then Bologna at home as well. Bologna back in Europe. I can't remember the last time they were in Europe. Bologna. To the best of my knowledge, I don't know whether they've been in the Europa or the Conference League. I don't think they have in more recent times. So, they'll be bang at it. They'll want to make an impression, of course. And AS Monaco, which will be the final game in the league, away as well. So a lot of big tests for Villa there.
It's going to be. We've just got to try and find the balance, haven't we? Between is it Tuesday, Wednesday? Is it still going to be on Tuesday and Wednesdays this year?
I presume they'll just go with that. I think, yeah.
And the Saturday game for the Premier League
on the Wednesday. But yeah, big test. But Emery knows Europe, doesn't he?
Yeah.
He's got a lot of experience in Europe with Sevilla, Villarreal, countless of Arsenal when he was there as well. That experience counts, coaching experience counts for a lot, I think, as well. It's gonna help your players, being in the top competition in Europe.
Yeah, I mean, it's just finding that balance, isn't it, between picking the right squad for twice a week. Not all the players can do 90 minutes twice a week, can they? So it's a good job we have strengthened the squad a little bit during this transfer window. But have we got it? Have we got enough to go all the way? I mean, the Conference League really took it out of us towards the end of the season. You could tell with the Premier League we were struggling, but obviously now we've made some signings. But we've also got rid of a couple of players, as you said, Douglas Luiz, Alex Moreno has gone out on loan to Forest, which I think is a bit of a blow. I know he was injured quite a lot last season, but I think that's a big blow. We have got Maatsen now, though.
Who had a fantastic season at Dortmund. He was very good.
We've still got your old boy Luca Dean, and I think he's incredible. I was so glad when we took him on. I think he's been an incredible left back.
We never replaced him. It was shocking. It was shocking to us because he played so many games for us, and he was really good going forward with the ball as well, and he was good on the dead balls. We just haven't replaced people.
How does someone so small always win the ball in the air? That's what I was watching, and I'm amazed when I see him up against these other guys. And I'm like, he always wins the ball in the air. He gets some real height to win these heading challenges.
You were looking back on a match that you went to last season, and you sent me some photos, and it was when you drew 3-3 with Liverpool, and you were with your wife Marie at the game. So just some memories from last season's games, because as you said, you went to a lot of games last season at Villa Park, and turn this game around, as you said off camera, because you were losing 3-1, weren't you?
Yeah. So we, I think it was like the last 10 minutes. We didn't think we were going to come back at that point, but we were still really enjoying the game. It had been a good game, and then when John Duran came on and got that one goal, it's like, could we really do this now? No. It's at least it's a consolation goal. But when he got the other one as well, I mean, I think the Liverpool fans went silent. I bet you were pleased with that one as well.
They just crumbled at the end of the season because we beat them at Goodison 2-0. And I've said it many times on this show since we started in February. I said to Chris, Chris went with City when we were predicting it, probably March time, who was going to go on and win it. Yes. I had Liverpool up until that point. And from April into May, they just crumbled. They crumbled. They looked really good prior to that. I said, I can't see Arsenal and City getting it. Liverpool playing some fantastic stuff.
I had Arsenal myself. I had Arsenal. Yeah. I thought Arsenal were going to do it, but like I said, it was probably us who cost them with the double.
There you are, Marie there, enjoying it at Villa Park.
Yeah, that's what I sent to my mate after we got the third goal, just because he's a Liverpool fan. I put it on our WhatsApp chat because obviously he wouldn't have been pleased that they conceded 2 late goals like that.
Just amazing, isn't it, when you experience the big games and the big nights, and you come away with something when you were behind in a game. Whether it be a draw or a win, it's always special, isn't it, when you come back to the brink.
It was the last home game of the season as well. So, and to get a result like that against a club like Liverpool, you can't go wrong, can you? Because they're always top contenders, aren't they? Really.
Yeah, so just great. And where do you like sitting at Villa? I'm assuming you get tickets in all the stands with being a member. Obviously,
wherever you can get a ticket, to be honest, mate. Because, like I say, because I don't get the first dibs, I have sat actually in all 4 sides of the Villa Park now. We went to a Spurs game. We were sitting the North Stand. Newcastle game was Trinity Road. A few of the Conference League games was in the Doug Ellis, and I think the photo you just put from the Liverpool, that was Doug Ellis. But then the Arsenal game I just went to last Saturday on my own. It was literally a last-minute ticket. I was up in the Holt End, and they're the ones who were always singing. They were allowed.
So that's the place to be. The whole end, obviously famous, of course.
Yeah, but if you want to stand for 90 minutes, that's the place to be. Because I mean, I've just come from work as well, so I was absolutely knackered. I could have done with sitting somewhere else, so I could have a seat.
I can imagine. I can imagine. And we're going to go into this weekend's fixtures. I'll get that correct as well. The big game of the weekend. I'm just going to come away from Villa just for a moment, and obviously the game of the weekend is going to be Man United and Liverpool. How do you think it's going to go? United lost to Brighton last week. It could be argued with the goals that were offside. I mean, they could have come out of that game and won it. Brighton have had a fantastic start, though, maximum points under the new manager. And Liverpool in the first two games, I mean, two goals in both games and none conceded. So they're sitting on +4 goal difference already. I think the fans would have said, and people outside of the club would have said, if you're playing Ipswich and Brentford, no disrespect, Liverpool should come out with 6 points. But I thought against Ipswich prior, I said that could be a tricky game for Liverpool. They've just come up, they're at home, but a great start for Liverpool.
Well, yeah, I mean, look, Ipswich put a goal past City, and they didn't put one past Liverpool. So City's defence can be quite shaky sometimes, can't they? And that's why, when we talk about fancy football, that's why I've got Trent. He's got the clean sheet potential, probably a bit more under Slot maybe than Klopp, because I think Slot likes to play defence quite strong, doesn't he? But Trent's got that attacking for it. But for this game, it will be tough. I still think Liverpool will win, but I don't see no clean sheets at all. I think it'll be a really tough game because Man U seem to be a bit more improved. They seem a bit more rejuvenated after the FA Cup win, I think.
He has to start Garnacho and Xerxes in that game. Bruno started up front last week against Brighton. And I know a lot of United fans through work and stuff like that, they were going ballistic. Because, Xerxes got the winner against Fulham. Of course, late on, he got the goal. Garnacho's always a threat out wide. I rate him. He's so good. Why are you not playing a recognised striker?
He just come back, hadn't he, from abroad. So again, it's the same. He hasn't really had a holiday as such. So I think it's probably the fitness levels, isn't it? But yeah, Garnacho's always there and thereabouts. I mean, didn't he have a goal disallowed as well last week?
Yeah, and the other one, was it Xerxes? But obviously someone touched it, didn't they? Which made
I didn't see the game. You see, I just
made it offside. If the ball hadn't been touched, it was a goal. But yeah, they just, and Brighton in the 95th minute, João Pedro, and it's 2-1. But I think it'll be a tricky one for Liverpool as well. As good as they've looked early on. I don't know, but at the same time, I just think Liverpool will edge it. I think 2-1 Liverpool. And
I was thinking the same, but I might even go 2-2, make it a draw.
Yeah, a draw in that one. So yeah, that's the game of the weekend. I'm just looking through some of the fixtures here. The early kickoff to open the weekend is Arsenal Brighton. That is going to be a tasty one. They're both on 6 points, of course. Herzl, the new manager at Brighton, 31 years old, coming straight into the league, and they've come out with 6 points. They hammered us for 70 minutes. We had a good opening against them, and we just absolutely folded. It was terrible. It was terrible, but a great start for Herzl as Brighton manager. 31 years old, managing the club. But if you're good enough, you're old enough, aren't you?
Well, I think he might get his first bit of bad luck this weekend because they'll be lucky if they can score past Arsenal because no one's done it yet, have they, this season? 2 clean sheets in a row. I can see a third one coming this weekend. My regret is not playing Rare in goal on the fantasy against Villa. I benched him on purpose because you shouldn't back the opposite team, should you, on the FPL? But I regret it when he got his 10 points on the bench. But no, I think Arsenal's not scoring a lot of goals at the minute. Going forward, they're not as strong, but defensively, they're still there, just like last season, aren't they?
Definitely.
I'd go with a 1-2-0 Arsenal.
I think 3. I'm going to go 3-1 Arsenal.
Well, 3-1 to Brighton score.
I think Arsenal. Havertz has been playing like false 9 and doing a great job. Do you know what? Havertz comes in for a lot of stick. They're saying he's not a recognised striker. but he did such a great job last season. He scored so many goals, and Germany as well in the tournament as well. You know, he's up front. They're saying they need a striker. I think he scores enough goals anyway, and they get a lot of goals from midfield as well. You know, yeah, okay, they want this big striker. Ivan Toney's name was bandied about, wasn't it? Obviously, he's been looked at by other clubs, Chelsea, United, Saudi Arabia. I think Havertz doesn't get enough respect. I really think he's done a great job because it's not his natural position.
No, there seems to be a lot of people at the moment not playing in their natural position. There's a lot of people, apart from like your Haalands and your Watkins. Not everybody's got a number 9, have they? I mean, Spurs didn't have one until they've just got Solanke. So there seems to be a few clubs in the Premier League without a natural number 9.
I just think it's the way the game's gone, the modern side of the game. You can have like a false 9 as they turn it.
All those attacking midfielders, they're the ones getting the goals these days, aren't they?
Brentford, Southampton, I think we'll just do a quick one on them just to get through them. I think I'm going to go 2-0 Brentford. I think Southampton are going to struggle. Everton need Southampton to struggle, and we're only 3 games in and panic's setting in. You know, you wouldn't believe we've got another 30 plus games, but I can't see past Brentford in this. I think Mbeumo, Visser have done a fantastic job. Me and Chris were talking about him over the last couple of weeks, and they're great. They're really, really good players. Obviously, the lad they signed in the summer, the striker, he's injured. That was going to be Tony's replacement, of course. But them 2 lads will score goals. So I think Southampton are going to struggle all season. Although Aaron Ramsdale is signed for 25 million plus 5 million add-ons to go in goal. I don't know whether he'll be signed in time to play, but I've got 2-0 Brentford on this one.
I think Southampton might get 1 goal. So I'm going to go 2-1 Brentford.
2-1 for Ant, 2-0 for me. And then my boys, Everton against Bournemouth. My terrible start for us. 7 goals conceded in 2 games. After Sean Dyche, I mean, we had the second highest clean sheets in the league behind Arsenal last season. And it's gone to pot, and there's no goals going in. That's the alarming thing. There's just no goals. Again, a draw's no good, but my heart is saying, you know, we'll win it, but my head's saying a 1-1 in that one.
I think it'll be a draw. Yeah, I'll probably agree with you on that 1-1. If you're lucky, because I think Bournemouth might still steal it.
Bournemouth got a good point against Newcastle as well last weekend. You know what I mean? It's not going to be easy.
No,
they've had our number a few times, especially when we played them away. They've been a bit of a bogey team in some games for us. So, yeah, Sean Dyche's job's on the line. I think he'll get maybe 2 games after international break. And if it's not right, I think he's getting sacked. And I've tried to be Camp Dyche and stick with him because he's done fantastically well with, you know, no money. The points deduction last year, you know, without the points deduction, we would have finished 12th last season. We would have been up there with Brighton. But yeah, I think 1-1 in that one.
Yeah, 1-1. Bournemouth might just sneak 2-1.
Ipswich, Fulham. Now, Fulham had a good win on the weekend, of course. Smith Rowe and Iwobi scored. Ipswich, again, you know, 2 tough games to open their season. You know, if you say you're playing Liverpool and City in the first 2 weeks,
get them done.
You know, they've had 2 tough games to open the season. So how do you see this one going? Obviously, they've signed Sam Smodics, who scored a lot of goals for Blackburn last season. And he scored against City on the weekend. They've signed Calvin Phillips, of course, on loan. Where do you see this going? What's your prediction?
Well, Fulham seem defensively improved this season so far, I think. Have they got Anderson starting now?
Joachim Anderson's come back, from Palace.
Yeah, so do you think he'll be starting this weekend?
I think he will get started. He didn't last weekend, I think, with the signature and stuff like that. They couldn't process it in time. So he's going to start him. He's going to start him at the back, isn't he, as Marco Silva.
With him playing, then that really strengthens their defence. So I could see a clean sheet for Fulham. It could be a 0-0 draw. I don't know if Ipswich are going to score, but I mean Fulham might. But Ipswich are really going to want to try and keep a team out, aren't they? Because they held City off for a little while, but once it started tumbling downwards, didn't it? But they held Liverpool off for quite a while as well. So I think defensively they're not too bad. Ipswich, you know, I think they are playing more defensive because You have to in the Premier League because these teams are coming at them with really strong attacks. You know, City and Liverpool.
They're a fantastic.
Thankfully, Fulham haven't got such strong attack as they've just faced. So I think that it could be a 0-0 draw, this one.
It hinges on Muniz for Fulham because he scored a lot of goals last season, but he hasn't got going yet. But we're only 2 games in, you know. Ipswich as well, Jacob Greaves signed at the back, highly touted from Hull City, had a good header against Liverpool early on in the first half as well. But Everton would link with him. You know, a lot of teams will look. So Ipswich have made some good signings. You know, they're trying to watch their money. They're trying to be careful. But Kieran McKenna, you know, 2 promotions back to back. He's done fantastic, you know, and he's a good coach.
I'd like to see Calvin Phillips get a start as well. That will really bolster the midfield. We haven't seen that guy play enough in the last few years, have we?
It was just City was the wrong move, and then he's had the injuries, and West Ham, it just didn't get going for him. But there's a player in there. He's been capped for England. He's played in the big tournaments for England. So yeah, it will be interesting to see. I think a draw as well in this one. I think it'll be a score draw though. I'm going to go 1-1 with that, Ant.
Hopefully Smith Rowe with the goal then for my.
Yeah, I noticed you got him. I was looking through who you had. So yeah, and then moving on back to Villa, your side, obviously go into the King Power. It's a Midlands derby, Leicester versus Villa. I'll let you take it away and what you think with this one.
It's going to be a tough game, isn't it? I mean, you've seen how well Leicester came back at Spurs in the first game of the season at home, and they're going to be a tough cookie to crack, but Villa should do this. If we want to still finish, you know, really high on the table, we need to be beating Leicester, don't we? Just how we beat West Ham, we need to get over the line with this one and get a win. But I don't think there'll be clean sheets. I don't think there'll be clean sheets in this, especially if Vardy's playing again, because he likes to find the back of the net, doesn't he?
He does.
I can't really think of many of the scorers for Leicester at the minute because I didn't watch them when they was in the Championship. So I know Vardy was injured quite a lot the last time they was in the Premier League. And the other guy who was scoring quite a lot, I can't think of his name now. Who was getting all the goals? We had him in the FPL for a bit. Can't think of his name. Daka, that's it. Yeah, he's injured though, isn't it? Moment, isn't he, Daka? Daka's injured, so I think that's why. That's what even Vardy. I don't think he's 100%, but he still looked pretty sharp against Spurs. So he's going to be a threat. He's going to be a threat against Villa, but we should win this one. I'd go 2-1.
I've got you winning it as well. I'm going to go 2-0. You know, Leicester have got the points deduction looming as well. They don't know how many points they're going to lose. Steve Cooper, he's got a hell of a job on, but I tell you what, he wasn't bad at Forest. You know, I felt it was unjust when he got the sack. I think he's a very good coach. You know, he's good. He's good, but they have got that. You know, they know they're going to get a deduction at some point, so they need to get points on the board. It's similar to our situation last season. It's not knowing how many points you can have taken off. Then you appeal it, and you're wondering what you're left with off the back of that. But I think you're just too strong. You're too strong, and I think Leicester and Southampton. The two that I think are going to struggle, and I think Ipswich are going to struggle as well.
Yeah, I think all the promoted sides will struggle. Yeah, it seems to be the case for the last few seasons, apart from Fulham, who seem to find themselves more in the top half of the table most times. The last few seasons, promoted sides seem to be towards the bottom, don't they? I mean, Forest is down there quite a lot now, just teetering over the relegation zone. But this season, it's at the moment, Wolves are down there, aren't they? So, I mean, they've just got rid of Pedro Neto, Max Kilman. There's two staples in the squad. That is, I think Wolves are really going to struggle this season. It's a shame if they're sitting down that bottom half of the table, but we'll see. It's really going to be a tough season for all those promoted sides.
Absolutely. That's well segued there, because they're in the next match here on the list. So we've got Forest and Wolves. Obviously, Newcastle went through in the Carabao Cup last night against them on penalties, of course. So they went out. But Wolves, again, me and Chris are only speaking about it. Gary O'Neill, he deserves a medal because he's had the rug pulled from under him. They've sold. That's why Lopetegui went when he did. He'd had enough of it. He's like, you're just selling. Daniel Podence is back. Obviously, he was at Olympiacos last season on loan, wasn't he? He is back. They need him. They need Podence in there. I like Hwang as well up front, and I also like Cunha.
Cunha, they've got
goals.
Last season, that hat trick he got after the week, I just sold him on FPL.
They've got players, but like the likes of Kilman, who's been fantastic at the back, gone. It's going to be tricky for them, isn't it? I think with this one, I've got a draw for this one though. I just think it's got draw all over it.
They got trampled, didn't they, last week by Chelsea as well? I mean, didn't you and Chris had Wolves for the win, didn't you?
I just thought like Wolves would do something.
I thought so.
They just crumbled. I don't think they played particularly bad. They just crumbled. You know. And Madueke was absolutely ruthless, wasn't he, for his hat trick? Cole Palmer, 3 assists and a goal. I just think a draw. I'm going to go. There's going to be goals. I'm going to go 2-2.
I agree. I was thinking 2-2 as well. Hopefully, Hudson-Odoi is one of them goal scorers, because otherwise he's getting sacked.
And then West Ham City, big game, of course. West Ham now with Julian Lopetegui in charge. Made a lot of signings. Tadebo's coming on loan. He's coming from France, excuse me. You know, West Ham have been signing people. There was talk of Ward-Prowse going. He'd be a good signing for somebody as well, Ward-Prowse. He really would, with the dead balls and stuff like that. But again, City, I just can't see past City. I think West Ham are going to have a bit of a tough start here, and I think they're only going to have 3 points from 3 games. I've got City. I'm going to go 4-1 City away.
I was thinking 3-1 City.
Because
they will concede. They concede too much. I don't know. I don't even know why I've got a City defender in my team, because they never keep a clean sheet. It's because Gavardio's got that goal for it, but he's hardly had any touches in the box this year.
Yeah, it's totally not gone how it went for in the last few months, because everyone's put him in. I put him in thinking he was going to do something. The teams to go for at the back, I should have known this. It was Arsenal, Liverpool defenders, and I didn't do it. But it's still early. It's still early for that. But yeah, I can't see past City, and I think West Ham. I think over the season, West Ham will come good. I just think it's a few tough games in the opening weeks for him, and I'll go City. Haaland's been fantastic. I made the boo-boo of not putting him in.
Me too.
I tried to spread the points across midfield and the attacking, and it's cocked it right up.
Certainly burnt us last week, didn't it?
Just silly not putting him in, but that's it. And then moving on to Sunday, we've got 3 games before international break, before there's a 2-week break. Chelsea, Crystal Palace. How do you see this one going?
Well, Palace, Henderson's one of my mistakes at the moment in my team, because after how strong they was in defence last season, with Anderson going, I know you've mentioned this before. I don't know, is Gahey going or not? Do we know?
I don't think so, because they're holding out for 70 million. Newcastle said 65 is their limit. There's been talk of other clubs coming in for him. I mean, they've got till tomorrow to do it, but I think he's going to stay. You know,
losing Anderson's a big blow.
Yeah,
losing Elise as well.
Yeah,
obviously Mateta had been at the Olympics, so he didn't play much the first game. I think Eze's been quite unlucky, but I don't know. Defensively, Palace don't seem that good at the minute. Chelsea got a game tonight?
They are playing Servette in the Conference League, so they're obviously 2-0 up. I could have done with having a look at the latest scores, actually. Hearts are playing Victoria Pilsen in the Europa League as well. They were 1 down from the first leg, but they're at home. They're at Tynecastle tonight. It'll be interesting.
Well, with that one, with Chelsea playing again, I know from Villa last season, playing on a Thursday, then again on a Sunday dinner time, there's not that much time, is there? So I don't know what the team lineups are looking like, but I think Palace might get a goal out of it, but maybe Eze might actually get on the score sheet this weekend.
That game's 1-1 at half time, so it's 3-1. Christopher Nkunku got a penalty on 14 minutes, and Jeremy Guillemino of Servette on 32. But the lineup, Sam, they've gone with Jorgensen in goal, Diassi, Tosin Adarabeu, Benoit Badiashile's in at the back as well. Enzo Fernandez, so he's going to play on the weekend. Renato Vega, Noni Maduke's playing, and Kunku obviously scored. Kieran Dewsbury Hall, Mikhail Mudryk, and Mark Gu, who has come from Barcelona, the young kid. So there is players there on the bench. So he's looking to Sunday, isn't he?
Of course he is. Yeah, no Palmer. I'm in Cuckoo. He hasn't been playing, has he, in the Premier League really? So it looks like he might be his Europe go-to, and Palmer's the Premier League man, isn't he?
I still think I've got Chelsea.
Yeah, I think Chelsea, but
over the line. But they look like they're going to score goals for fun under Maresca.
3-2. So 3-2 to Chelsea, I think.
3-2. 3-2. I'm going to go. I'll go 3-1. I'll go 3-1 in that. Then that'll be. I think Chelsea again. They're going to have quite a solid start to the season, and with the players that are out tonight, he's obviously got one eye on this as well, hasn't he? Newcastle, Tottenham. This could be tasty. Wow. We're saying about United, Liverpool. Obviously, we've spoken about them, but this is a tasty one up at St James's Park, Ant.
Yeah, but I mean, they I think wasn't Newcastle their bogey team last season? I think didn't they beat them in both legs? I remember was it last season or season? I did go down to I went with my friend Sanj to see Spurs and Newcastle down in London, and the Spurs lost 2-1 on that day, and that was when they still had Kane. Yes, of course it was the season before, and Newcastle's not looking great at the minute. Obviously, Fabian Schär's still suspended, isn't he, for another game?
Don't talk to me about him. I got a minus. I got a -2 the first week. You know, he's good for a goal. He annoyed me. I was like, I'll pick him. I know he's good. Just anything that can go wrong goes wrong. I was getting stick with that sending off.
I had him until 30 minutes before the deadline, and I changed my entire team.
You had the premonition, you did. You knew that was going to happen.
The only thing I need to do now is know the lottery numbers, don't I?
Yeah, you need to pick mine, mate. I think doing that, bloody hell. Yeah, I couldn't believe it. They held on as well. He was sent off. You know, they had so long to get a goal in that game, didn't they? Southampton, and they just couldn't do it. They couldn't do it. I thought at the very least Southampton will get a draw with the man advantage, but fair play to Newcastle. He held on, got the win. Sorry, Ant.
I was just going to say, but Isak's not impressing me at the moment. He's got to go. He's got to go. He might. In fact, you know, you said earlier off camera about talking about FPL. If there was any change I was going to make this week, it might be him. He might have to go because I don't know if he's going to score past Spurs. Spurs defensively, they always concede. I know they didn't last week, but they do defensively. It's because they're so attacking minded.
He loves the press, and when we went against them in January at Goodison, we were 2-0 down in that game. Richarlison put 2 in, and we caught them. We caught them and got it back to 2-2. You can get goals. I do like Mickey van der Ven at the back, though. I think he's a very good player. I really rate him. But they're very expansive the way they play under Ange. They play some lovely stuff, but they're susceptible. They are susceptible. You can catch them on the counter with that high line.
I really don't know where to go with this one. There's going to be goals, both sides. I don't know, after the way Spurs played last week. And it depends as well with Solanke. If Son's up top again, it could be like 3-2 Spurs.
I've got 2-2 for this. I'm just going to go with my first thought on the result. I'm going to go 2-2. I think a 2-2 draw. Isak needs to start firing. He played last night in the cup game as well. He played. Willock got the final touch for their first goal, but then he went off injured. But Isak, he needs to start firing because he'll be getting fired, as we were saying.
Yeah, literally, quite literally. Yeah.
He'll have the old Vince McMahon, "You're fired."
That's what I'll be saying to him later. I'm going to go on there and say, Isak, you're fired.
So yeah, there's our predictions for this week. It was good enjoyed that, and hopefully some good games over the weekend. Of course, we spoke about United and Liverpool earlier. We opened with that because it's the biggest game of the weekend. But yeah, be interesting that one, and that finishes the weekend. Do you know what, Anne? These international breaks do my head in. I understand when there's a tournament on every
Yeah.
2 years, they can't play the games during the summer. Why don't they just play these international games during the summer, a lot of them, and get them out of the way?
I don't like them. You literally you pick up injuries. I get it. They're trying to say they're trying to pick their teams for the next tournaments, aren't they? I mean, have you seen the news today? Kieran Trippier's announced international retirement.
Yes. Yeah.
So he literally's done that before the squad's been picked, hasn't he? But it's you pick up injuries, and then players, especially the ones who the Americas, when they go and play over there, people. That's why Klopp always used to go mad, didn't he? He used to keep having the Saturday dinner time kickoff,
Yeah.
and he wasn't getting his Nunez and his Luis Diaz back, and because they were a couple of the later players. I mean, Yotta's obviously just over in Europe, but yeah, they seem to have an awful lot of international games. I think there's too many games, full stop. I mean, now, like you said, with the Champions League that they've done now, it's actually going to be more games, isn't it, in total? The way it's going to work.
Yeah,
So
you're playing.
that puts the pressure on.
It's two more games with this format that they didn't have. I just think just play these internationals during the summer when they haven't got the big tournament. Just play a big chunk of them, and they're playing friendlies. They don't mean anything.
Yeah. Well, we had the club friendlies, didn't we? So we had the international tournament.
Yeah.
And then they come back, and then 3 days after the tournament had finished, Villa had got their first warm-up game against Warsaw.
Yeah.
Your mate Simon Hill, I bet he was there for that one.
Yeah, he was.
Because it was a Bescott. I mean, he probably won't like me for this, but we beat them 3-0. That was the only game. That was the only game that we did well in pre-season. I think we lost every other game. I mean, I didn't see any of those games. I was working, and to be honest, I'm not that particularly bothered about friendlies in general, whether it's England or whether it's the clubs. I like my Premier League. I like my tournaments, my Euros, my World Cup. And Champions League, anything, FA Cup, anything that actually means something. Like you say, the friendlies. It's nice to see a couple of players you don't normally see, get a start and see how well they play. And they could be the future, but I'm not a massive fan of watching. There's too many games on already, and with other sports as well. So
yeah, it's crazy. I don't watch as much wrestling now. Football's always took top spot. It has, but it is very hard. It's very hard to keep track of everything, all the sports. I say this all the time. It's just the way life is now.
Yeah,
it's crazy. It's crazy. What would be your predictions then for Villa? How far do you think they can go in the Champions League?
Wow, that's the thing, because of this new format. Not having all the games at home as well, because our home form was always better anyway. It's really tough to say. I'd like to get out of the group stage. I wouldn't be too disheartened if we got out of the group stage and then got knocked out, because I still want to concentrate on the Premier League. I just don't think you can do both. Clubs, or even Arsenal, can't do both. There's only people like City who can, and it's because they're so used to it by now. But you look at last season, Newcastle, Man U, they were straight out of the Champions League. And Newcastle been in since when? They've been in there? I don't even know. Not since I've been watching football.
It's like the early 2000s when they were.
Before my football time. I've only been watching, apart from the World Cups and stuff, it's like 6 years, really, I've been watching football. So they hadn't been in the Champions League since I knew. And they couldn't handle the 2 games a week. Man U were struggling with the 2 games a week. I mean, we even, like I said to you earlier, we even struggled in the Conference League with the 2 games a week. It was affecting our Premier League performances, I thought, towards the latter stages anyway. But if we can get out of the group stages, that'd be good. It'd be good to see, as long as we put a good game on and take it to them. You can't ask for no more. They've earned where they are. They just need to go out there and enjoy themselves. Go and enjoy what they do. They love playing football. Go and do it. If we win, great. But at the same time, I still want to see us high up in the table in the Premier League. Because even if we don't do it this season, if we can try and get top 4 again, maybe strengthen even more, could be the building blocks to get further next time.
Well, you look where Villa were when they got relegated to where they are now. It's just incredible, the change. And, it's crazy. It's crazy. Amazing what they've managed to do. It is.
No, Emery has been a breath of fresh air. I mean, I liked when we had Dean Smith. But that's when I started watching Villa. It's because of Marie. She was the one who got me onto the Villa. But Dean Smith, I like Dean Smith. He loved the club. He loved the club. A lot of the players had a lot of respect for him. I seen an interview with Leon Bailey a couple of months ago, and he kind of skipped over when we had Stevie G. It didn't seem like a lot of players took to him. But under Emery, I don't think any of the players say a bad word about him. He's so passionate. He's like the first man in and the last man going home. And I heard about him sending videotapes, about watching the videotapes. I think someone said about him making them watch the videos for the revising for the games. But be interesting to see where we go in the Champions League.
I think if you get knocked out, say early on, I think you'll go into the Europa League. I think that's still a thing. Where that.
Oh, okay.
I, without reading the rules and that, I still assume, depending where you finish and stuff like that, because I've not seen the rules fully. I've just read about, the top 8 will get in that league. We'll go through, and then it's the rest below. I think it went down to like the 24th team.
But it's all these other cups as well. When we've got the Carabao, the FA Cup.
It's a lot of games.
We've got to try not to get too far in all of them.
Yeah,
you need to be knocked out early in one of them. Yeah. It's sad to say. I mean,
is Emery going to be really bothered about FA Cup and League Cup this year? I don't think he is.
He will be if it's a cup. If you think you can get far, go and get the silverware, because it'd be nice to have some silverware. But you can't prioritise them all, can you?
It's too much to try and go all the way. You've got to get through how many rounds to get to the final. It's crazy. It's absolutely nuts. But we'll see, won't we? We'll see.
Yeah.
Are you going to go with City to win the league? Just before we go, who do you predict to win it?
Well, at the minute, I mean, I went with Arsenal last season. I'm going to go with Arsenal again because
he's bought players. He's
after watching them play again. I know, like I say, we could have got a goal, but if they're not conceding the goals, that means they're keeping clean sheets. So that means a lot more 3 points, if not 1. But they've just got to get the goals the other end, haven't they? But which they do. It's not like they're short of players to do it. Rice is popping up with a goal here and there. Partey looks like he might be back to his best. So we always know we don't even need to talk about Saka because he's always putting the goals in, and as you mentioned, Havertz as well. He had quite a good tournament, and the back end of last season in particular, when they made him kind of like the unofficial number 9. That was when, because Jesus is still there, isn't he?
Yeah, it's crazy. He doesn't score. He's never been prolific. He wasn't prolific at City, but again, Jesus he's been bogged down with injuries over the years. He can score goals, but it just goes to show, doesn't it? I'm sure he's part of Arteta's plans, and I'm sure he'll get played. But Havertz has more than filled that void that they had. I like Odegaard and Rice. I think they're absolutely superb. I went last season against Arsenal, and they were the 2 standout players. We couldn't get a sniff, and we only lost 1-0. And it was almost as if Arsenal didn't have to go out of first gear. It was crazy, and they were miles better than us, but they only won 1-0. But they just did everything. Everything was done to the letter. It was just really good football,
Yeah, it's that's not a bad result, then, is it really, against Arsenal? I say I'll take that 2-0 last week. I still thought it was a good game, so. But yeah, I'll go with Arsenal. So you're going with City, are you?
I just think City have got too much, and I think Pep is Gundogan. We spoke about it last week, Chris. Gundogan's back, and they've got their midfield was chocker anyway. But what a getting him back. because he was probably, they say about Haaland being the star man, but the season before last, Foden was brilliant, wasn't he? And he was the player of the year last year for him, but Gundogan the year before last was he was unplayable. He was unplayable. He was so good. I just think they're too strong. They got 2 11s effectively.
Yeah, I mean, obviously they haven't really got like the backup striker now. They now Alvarez has gone. Because when Haaland was injured, they had Alvarez stepping in, and he filled the shoes quite well. But now he's gone. You would have to put like Gundogan up front or Foden, because there is no other sort of number 9 there, is there now?
This is it. So we'll see. It's been a good start to the season. Not so much for Everton, but I'm just hoping we can get a bit of form and get through it. I think we've got yourselves coming up after an international break, actually.
Yes, the 14th.
We've got Leicester after that. I'm not holding out much hope against you guys, but Leicester, they're going to have to beat Bournemouth and Leicester. They're going to have to get 6 points out of them first 5. Otherwise, they're in big trouble.
Well, I still remember you were the first team to beat us at Villa Park in like 15 games. You beat us 2-0. It was in one of the cups, I don't know if FA Cup or Carabao.
Yeah, it was in the Carabao, yeah.
And like I say, it was a fortress up until that point. We were 14 or 15 games in a row, I think we did. So, is Calvert-Lewin playing, or is he not fit?
Yeah, he's fit. He's as fit as he's ever been under Dyche. That's one thing I will give Dyche. For all the stick Dyche gets, he's got him fit. He said he was rushed back all the time. He said Lampard, he didn't name Lampard, he wouldn't do that, but he said he was brought back all the time too soon because we need him, but he's like, I'm not bringing him back until he's right. And he's played low. It's testament to Dyche because he's played a lot more games under him. He's been fit. He has been fit. I think he's had a couple of times where he's not been 100% and he's rested him and brought him back. He's played the most games under Dyche, for that amount of games. We're crying out for him to do something, but he's not getting.
It'd be nice to see him pop up and get a couple of goals then.
We've got Njai, the Senegalese lad, who we got from Marseille, who was at Sheffield United the year before. He's got to start him. Jake O'Brien, we've been speaking about this, me and Chris, for weeks. Signed from Lyon, Irish lad, 6'6", played in the cup the other night, looked fantastic. But Michael Keane, he'll play Michael Keane again on Saturday.
Don't tell Chris. It's Chris who don't like Michael Keane playing that much, does it?
He's shocking. We concede 2 goals. We average that we concede 2 goals when he's playing. But before we go, I'll just say quickly, Jarrett Branthwaite, it's there for all to see why we're conceding. If it's Jared and Tarky at the back, we're solid, and you can just see the void that Jared's left being injured. He's not far away, I don't think.
I was going to say, I had him in my team, and then I seen the bloody triangle next to his name, and I was like, no. And that's when I ripped my team sheet up.
That's why I'm glad Onana got sold. One of them had to go, and I'm not being horrible. I wanted Jared to stay ahead of him. I said, I know why Onana's gone now. We've been very lucky to keep him. They've all been sniffing around him. We were holding out for big money, and it was a travesty that he didn't get picked for England in the tournament. But Mark Gay, I slagged Mark Gay off before he went, and he had a fantastic tournament. He was brilliant.
He was probably our best player.
He was really good for England. He was. I said I don't think. I had sour grapes because obviously Jared didn't get picked, but Mark Gay was brilliant. He was. I'll say when I said something else, and just hopefully with Jared coming back, we'll be all right, and we'll get the clean sheets again.
Well, because I might put Pickford back in then.
Fingers crossed. And thank you so much for coming on today. Episode 26 it's been, and all the best to Villa this season. I like seeing how Villa are getting on. I want Villa to do well. They're a good club. They're a working class club like Everton. They always have been.
That's right. It's been a good laugh, to be fair.
It's been good, man. It's been good. Thank you so much for coming on. We'll be back for episode 27. Probably not next week. We've got personal stuff going on, me and Chris. So it's going to probably be the week after. So we thank you, Ant, because we probably weren't going to have an episode for a few weeks. So, short notice, and you've come on, and fingers crossed, Villa win and Everton win this weekend.
Yeah, good luck to you, mate.
Take care, everybody, and we'll see you for episode 27 of Football Then and Now very, very soon. Take care, everybody.
See ya.
Football Then and Now, a fun look at football nostalgia and the modern game intertwined. Join us.